Hey guys, I just wanted to share a story with you um, about someone that holds a very special place in my heart to this day. And I do think about this person from time to time because not a lot of, I mean, there are good people in this world, but like there's people that we least expect um, to like do something, meaningful to us. So this happened, I want to say, 7 years ago when I was 23. It happened in July of 2013 because July of 2013 is when I moved back here from Buffalo, New York. A lot of you know because I talk about it a lot. Um, I lived in this apartment building on the 10th floor when I was there. So this person lived on the third floor of that same apartment building, and a very close friend of mine had passed away, and that really, really, really like hurt me, and it really affected me up until like today. Like, I went through so much, like, you don't even understand. Like, I can't even start to like how badly this affected me, and the stuff that I went through, like everything. Like, most people wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know if somebody's going through something, you know? Like, you gotta be careful with how you treat people because you never know what that person might have been through or what they're going through or their struggles in their life. Like, you know, just be careful. And so let me like not get off track. But I was living there. My friend had passed away July of 2013. Um, I had my boyfriend. Me and my boyfriend had just started dating October 2012. So he was 6 hours from me. He was living in the Bronx and I was living in upstate. So he would come back and forth to see me. And he had went back home like not too like he went back home and then my friend had passed. So it was shocking to both of us. And he told me, I just told him like, yo, I need to leave. Like, I can't be here. Like, I have to go. I'm gonna go. So I was coming back to Kansas and he's like, I'll go with you, whatever. So he gets on the next bus up to come upstate to see me, to be with me. And I just could not be in that apartment by myself. You know, I had my dog. My friend bought me the dog. And the dog knew that something was up because I was just an all around emotional wreck. Like, the dog knew there was something up. Nobody else knew that my friend had passed, but they always seen us together. You know, like, I took care of him. I was in home health care. I took care of him. So he got very, very, very sick and he had passed in the hospital. And they actually had him on a ventilator. So I didn't go with him to the hospital because I had the dog. I didn't have money at the time for a cab. And I didn't want to, like, bother anybody because, I mean, I didn't have a lot of people back then, you know. I kept my circle very small. So he had passed. A friend of his called me and told me. And once I found out, like, I was just all around, I was just a mess. Like, that's when my life just changed. Like, my entire life just was never the same after he had told me that. So once he told me that, like, I was just like in and out of the apartment. I didn't want to be there. I went outside, took my dog out like the next night, and there was a few people standing around. There was a couple guys there. There was like some home health aides, like a couple of them. There was this guy named Mike. Yes, it is his real name. He looked like a Tupac Shakur. Like, Mike was 40. He was like 40 or 41. I can't remember. But he was really quiet, you know. He always had his bottle. He's always by himself. He always blasted his Tupac music because he was on the third floor and I always heard his music. But I never really spoke to him. I never really, like, you know, went out of my way to talk to him. I didn't talk to a lot of people because I didn't like going out of my way, you know. Because it could lead to bad things sometimes. Especially being a woman. So I seen him. Let me just say this. I don't want to mess my story all up. So I saw him after my friend had passed, right? And the dog was with me. And then they asked me, like, you know, where's the guy that you're always with? Where's he at? And I told them, you know, he had passed away or whatever. So then they felt bad or whatever. And I smoked at the time. Like, I smoked cigarettes, I know. And Mike had actually given me a cigarette, and I went and smoked a little bit of it. And I came back. Everybody had left. But it was kind of like a really messed up situation because there was these two married guys there, right? They were like in their 50s or 60s. And these guys being older, you would think that like they would be the ones to be a little more respectful and helpful, you know, or supportive during times like this. But no, it wasn't even like that. Like, they were trying to get up in my apartment. They were trying to bring alcohol and drink and buy furniture. Like, my friend's not even in the ground yet, and you guys is trying to come up here, get me drunk, take advantage of me, take my shit. Like, that's cold, you know? And, like, other people heard this. I heard this. They were saying this. Mike was there. He was there. You know, he was sitting there really quiet. He didn't say anything. But he did tell me after everybody had left, I came back around the corner and he's sitting there by himself, like right by the outside the apartment building door. And he's like, you know, like, I heard what they said. I know what they're doing. I know that's very disrespectful. Like, you must be going through some shit. So, is, you know, they shouldn't be saying that to you. Don't take what they say, you know, like, so I was like, yeah, it is what it is, whatever. That's just how some people are. Well, he talked to me a little bit, and then, like, he told, I don't want to go too far into it, but, like, I told him my friend was, like, an ex-musician for, like, 30 years, 30 plus years. And I just mentioned, like, I didn't tell him, like, in my mind I'm thinking, like, I really don't want to be alone tonight. I really can't be by myself, and I really can't do this, but that's what's going on in my mind. And then I tell him, like, like my friend, whatever, because he asked me a question, and I was like, he was a musician for some time, work with people, because he asked, who do you work with? I'm like, well, Isaac Hayes or whatever. So he's like, stop right there. Went up to his apartment because he's like, I'm not going to do anything crazy. Don't know crazy shit. Like, I'm not going to rape you or kill you or anything. And he turns on his stereo and then it's like Isaac Hayes. And then I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy. He's like, it's crazy, right? Like, you said Isaac Hayes, and then Isaac Hayes is what I've been listening to all day. So then, like, he dumps out his alcohol because he was drinking. He did drink. He told me out of respect for me and my friend, and he wasn't gonna drink in front of me. He would dump it out, So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And he's like, told me that day that I saw him, like 2 days before, I want to say. He said, because I seen him at the park. There's a park behind the apartment building, and I take my dog. Well, my friend had came home, and he had a really hard day that day. He was very, like, disoriented and stuff. Like, he didn't really know, like, what was going on around him. And that's when I knew something was wrong. But he had begged me not to, like, take him to the hospital, not to call 911. But I'm like, there's something wrong. Like, you need to go to the hospital. And he's like, no. Like, he fought with me over it. So I didn't know it was as serious as it was. But we were in the park, and it just felt different, Like, it just felt so different. Like, like that air that day just felt weird. Like, I did not know seconds my life was about to change. I did not know that when I walked into that park that night, that Mike that was sitting on that rock, he was sitting on this rock, like here. And I'm going with my friend who was like in a wheelchair. It can't walk. Mike had a washcloth on his head because it was hot. You know, he was sitting by the water to get some air because a lot of people didn't have AC. And he's drinking and he looks really, really sad. And I'm kind of looked at him because I'm like, I never spoke to this guy. I don't talk to this guy. I never hung out with this guy. I don't know this guy, you know? And I didn't say nothing, but I felt really bad because I'm like, you know, like, why is he sitting there by himself? Why is he looking sad? Why, you know, look like he wants to cry or something? So he told me that day that his somebody in his family that was really close to him had passed away. So I'm like, you know, like, wow. So then, like, my friend passed right like 2 days after. And I did stay at his apartment that night. And he did not try to take advantage of me. I did not drink. I did not do anything I wasn't supposed to do. He didn't try anything with me, you know. And I know a lot of you might say it's crazy, but when you're like in need of someone or something and there's actually somebody there, you at least expect some people that we see would actually be the ones, you know. He wasn't, the other guys was the ones trying to take advantage of me. Those other guys was the ones being disrespectful. Those other guys was the ones banging on my door at freaking midnight. And they told me they came by. And then when they found out I was at Mike's house, they like, you was at Mike's house? So I went back and I told them. I'm like, you know, like I saw them guys. They told me they showed up. And they was knocking on the door. And they found out I was here. So they were like saying, you know, la 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 la, you was at his house. And he's like, don't worry about them. Like, I'll deal with them later. You know, he was pissed. So, like, I told him thank you the day that I had left. And there were some things that I gave him before I had left. I think he asked me for some eggs or something. Like, he's like, you have a carton of eggs at your apartment that, you know, I don't have no eggs. I don't have no money. You know, I felt bad. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I just gave him what I had because I'm like, I ain't going to be here. Like, I'm leaving. And he was aware that I was leaving, like, the next day. So he watched my dog for me. He fed my dog. I was just all around mess. He told me, I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to do anything, but you want to sleep on the couch, you can sleep on the couch. But, you know, like, you're going through some shit. You don't, you know, you shouldn't cry, but, you know, it is what it is. So I just think it's, like, crazy, though. Like, this person was, like, the only person that was there, you know, to, like, help me, support me. Like, I didn't even have my family there. I didn't have my friends. Like, I didn't have anybody. Like, the closest friend that I had just died. So I'm like, crazy. So I really hope that, you know, like, one day if I see him again, I could reward him with something because he deserves it. At that time, I had nothing to give him. Like, it was so bad that day that I had left because I had credit cards. I had a bank account. I had a bedroom set. I had everything. And because I had to leave, my bank account overdrafted. I was unemployed. I had called my job. I had called my rental place. Everything. Like, I lost everything. And my credit cards is like, you know, I went in debt over that because I was relocating and I had to start over. I had $600 mattresses on my way down here from New York. We drove. Took what I could of my own, and then my stuff got ruined because it was a rainstorm right after we had left. But that was the hardest freaking day of my entire life so far. I don't know. When you lose and lose and lose and you lose something like that, that's hard. Like, it's hard to get over. So anyways, this video is for Mike in Buffalo, New York. Hurdle Ave. I hope one day, you know, I do get to reward you with something. But just thank you for being that person that did not take advantage of me when everybody else was trying. So, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I will see you guys in my next video. Take care, guys. God bless.